everyone. We are going to begin. I am going to introduce Helen Harrison, the director of the Pollock Krasner House and Study Center. We are wearing masks because we are in the barn of Jackson Pollock and Lee Krasner, and we're standing together. So just on a personal note, I hope this sets a good example. Okay, good. Let's record. Okay, so Helen, take it away.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I understand we have people from all over the world, and it's just a delight to have you with us. I wish you could all be here in person, but that would be a little overcrowded, I think. So at this time, we'll just have to meet virtually. But thank you so much to Joyce and Kathy for putting this program together. It really is a labor of love. And for all of us here at the Pollock Krasner House, we really couldn't be happier that you're all with us. Only one thing that I want to emphasize when we look around at Pollock and Krasner's work, very often because it's so abstract, people have a difficulty interpreting it and understanding it. But it's really about two things. It's about their feelings expressed in an abstract visual language, but it's also about communication. They wanted to reach across cultures, to reach to other people, and in a very personal way, without having to translate or explain what they were doing, and allowing the people who receive the art to interpret it in their own way. They wanted to create an international visual language, and it didn't have to be translated. So we hope that it will translate for you in your own way, in your own time, and that you'll be able to appreciate and enjoy what they have to offer. So I'm going to turn it back to Joyce. She's going to take you around the studio where they created their artwork, and also into the home where they lived, and where we have an exhibition of work by an artist who was a friend of Lee's named Athos Zacharias. And then we'll all be able to share our own creativity. So here you go, Joyce, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Helen. Now, today we do have a special co-host, Katherine Jones, who was formerly working with the UN in the peacekeeping operations. Kathy is a good friend of mine. She's a world traveler. She's lived and worked in over 6 countries, and I think she's been to every place on the globe. So Kathy is going to give us a little introduction of why she wanted to work with us on this project, and throughout she'll be introducing people as well. So Kathy, will you please say a few words?
I'd also like to thank the Pollock Krasner Study Center and House for giving us this opportunity to come together today in this way to explore the art, the house and the studio of Jackson Pollock and Lee Krasner, 2 amazing artists who produced incredible masterpieces there, and at the same time changed the world of art. Helen, Joyce, and others at the center, we really appreciate the work that you're doing. You make the center such an important and lively part of the cultural community in East Hampton and also globally. And today's event is a special opportunity to share about our own creativity. And we'll first of all get a glimpse of the what work being done by some wonderful artists who will be spotlighted. And then we can share about our own creativity, and I hope that as many of you will as possible. I think this event is happening at such an opportune time for this, about sharing about our creativity, because right now we all need to draw on our creativity to the max, as we and our communities across the world are facing such huge challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Kathy. So here I am. As you can see behind me, I am in the barn where Pollock created his masterpieces. I realize we have people of all different levels here. We have people who are artists, people who are non-artists, people from all over the world. So before we get started, I would like to show you some of Pollock's masterpieces. Of course, he's best known for his drip painting technique. We don't have his paintings in the barn. They're worth up to $200 million or more at this point. So I'm going to show you a quick presentation of some of his drip paintings that are all over the world. So bear with me while I do a little screen share. When this pandemic eases and we are allowed to go back to museums, I hope that you will visit one of the original Pollocks if you have one near you. This one is in the Met, and it shows the scale of Pollock's paintings, that when you look at a Pollock, it's as if you're enveloped into the painting. You become part of the experience. And when you look at a Pollock, and I hope we'll do some sharing today about what you see, the viewer completes the painting. So in the sense that you interpret it for yourself. There's no set meaning and set idea that Pollock or any critic or any. Anyway, so let's see some of his masterpieces from around the world. And these are just a few. MoMA in New York has a lot of his artworks, earlier ones as well. Today we're going to discuss the drip paintings because these are the ones that were made on location in this barn. My dream now is to go to the Peggy Guggenheim collection in Venice. Peggy Guggenheim was a patron of modern art, and she gave Pollock and Krasner money loaned them money towards a down payment so they could buy the property in the Springs, East Hampton. And she also gave Pollock a stipend so he did not have to have a second job, he could paint. Tate Gallery, Tokyo, and many, many others. And it all happened right here in this humble barn where I'm sitting in East Hampton Springs, Long Island. So let's get started. And I want to show you on location and discuss a little bit about Pollock. So here we are. And what's nice when you come to this museum is you can walk right into the studio barn where Pollock created his masterpieces. It's not roped off. And I'm wearing these little slippers to protect the floor. So this is an amazing experience. Right now on the wall, we have photos that tell about the history of Pollock and his wife Krasner. And the floor is not a work of art. This shows where the accidental spills and drips flowed onto the floor as he was painting. It's fun to come in here because you can also actually identify the exact location where he made some of his masterpieces by looking at the colors, looking at the rectangles that were left behind. Now, this studio was used by Pollock from 1945 to 1956 when he died in a car accident. A year later, Krasner came into the studio and used it as her own. And evidence of her artworks are on the wall. You can see where her canvases were and where her drips and spills splattered upward and around the canvases. So let's get a little window into the world of Jackson Pollock. What was he trying to do? What was his technique? So let's start with that. Here's a photo of Pollock. And as you can see, he's breaking many, many rules. One is he's got the canvas on the floor. And this was in part, it was a practical reason. When you put the canvas on the floor, the paint drips down and wherever it lands, it stays. Pollock also said, I want to work from all four sides of the canvas. I want to feel like I'm in the painting. So this way, his whole body could be involved in the process of painting. He's not actually even separate from the artwork itself. Sometimes he even steps into the canvas. He's an action painter. What is an action painter? An action painter is someone who's using his or her entire body, and the process of making art is evidenced in the final piece of art. So you can, in a sense, trace back Pollock's movements by looking at the drips and splatters of paint on his canvas. So he's fully involved in the process, but it's also very evident in the artwork. This actually inspires future artists, performance artists, to use their entire body when they create art. So it really opens up doors of creativity. Now you might notice down there, there's these buckets of paint. Pollock did not, for his drip paintings, he didn't use art paint. He used ordinary house paint. And here are some of his buckets of paint. And these were, of course, good because they flowed nicely. They dripped. They weren't thick. And he used sometimes the stirrer, he used the stirrer as the stick as an implement to drip the paint onto the canvases. So he's actually painting at times above the canvas, letting it flow. He's not actually touching the artwork. Always innovating. Here are his basters, which he would drip and squirt onto the canvases as well. And sometimes he would use the brush as a stick and let it flow off the brush. Now, where did Pollock get his ideas from? Okay, he didn't just wake up one day and start drip painting. Like most artists of his time, he studied at first how to paint things that you can see. So traditional subjects would be portraits, figures, landscape, stories, narrative paintings, and so on. I'm not going to show you those artworks because you could see those online. If you Google it, Going West is one of his famous ones. Gradually, artists of the 20th century and even before, they turn inward, and artists become interested in painting their inner life, their dreams, their subconscious, even their irrational self, their imaginations, painting things such as sounds. How do you capture those sorts of things? Now, Picasso and the Surrealists, they had already been doing this. But Pollock and the abstract expressionists were unique in that they created an art that was pure abstraction. There's no longer a recognizable image necessarily in the artwork. And it's very physical. They're not painting within a structure of an outline or modeling and so on. The paint is free and it's a physical act of painting. So what does that mean? Dripping paint, other artists scraping paint, using bold brushstrokes, letting it flow, maybe even using your hand or other innovative tools. That's abstract expressionism and at times action painting as well. These artists gathered in the Springs, East Hampton. It was inexpensive, beautiful light, beautiful nature, perfect place for artists, close to Manhattan. Dealers, collectors out here. How could anything be better? And you also have space. You have this beautiful barn that you can paint in instead of a tiny little apartment in New York City. So as I said, Pollock was very well known in his lifetime. Here's an article. It says, "Is he the greatest living painter in the United States?" in Life magazine. So what went wrong in Pollock's life? Everything seemed to be going well. He was painting, he had a stipend, friends, a home. For 2 years, he was sober. He struggled with alcoholism, and no one knows why. He started drinking again, and he became very, very depressed. He started an affair with Ruth Kligman, a younger woman, and she came out to visit. Lee Krasner was in Paris. She brought a friend, Edith Metzger. They went down the street on their way to a party, and Pollock crashed the car and died at 44 years old. I see a question coming in. Yes, SignofSound will be participating. And this will lead really beautifully into SignofSound. You will be seeing a really good connection between Pollock and Fabiana SignofSound art. Okay, so Pollock dies and Lee Krasner comes back, and a year later she resumes her art in the studio herself. Now, how is it that this floor was untouched by Lee Krasner? In this photo, you'll see the floor was actually covered when they were both alive. And it remained that way for years. So Lee Krasner her marks never touched this floor. After it became a museum, Lee Krasner died in 1984. In 1987, the museum conservators came in here, peeled off the boards, and you can only imagine, I can only imagine, their surprise when they saw Pollock's floor preserved forever. So it's quite a dramatic story. Now, I'd like to show you a clip of Pollock painting because, you know, naturally some people might think he was in there drinking and flinging paint, but that's not the case. Pollock was extremely careful and meticulous when he dripped paint, and he was very intentional. He was creating patterns, rhythm, texture, using all the elements of art in a beautiful way. So I'm going to show you a little video clip. We'll take a look at one of Pollock's paintings. And when we do, I hope you can type in on the chat some of your opinions about the painting I'm about to show you. Okay? Okay. This film was taken by Hans Namath in 1951. This is actually the outtake, but I like this one because it shows Pollock authentically in his barn studio. Some of the other movies were done outside, which was not how Pollock painted in everyday life. Pollock said he wanted to make energy made visible. I want to express my feelings rather than illustrate them. He's expressing directly through paint, movement, line. This is revolutionary. He's actually creating a new visual language, never been done before. It's 100% groundbreaking. And he has that beautiful balance between control and being deliberate and being a master of painting, and also the spontaneous random surprise of the drips and the splatters. Many of these modern artists were influenced by jazz because jazz as well is improvisational. It's pure sound, and this is pure visual language. So let's take a look at what Pollock was creating because you couldn't really see the colors. So I'd like to show you the painting he was making. And here it is. I realize I can't really see the chat, so maybe I'll call on people here and there. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I guess I will. Anyway, here's Pollock's painting. It's at the Whitney Museum of American Art. And with modern art, the viewer really completes the process. It's open-ended. It's interpreted by your individual perception. So can anyone tell us, what do you see when you look at this painting? And there's no right or wrong answers. Pollock said, I want to express a feeling. What feeling might this show?
The depth comes and goes.
The depth comes and goes, yes. It's a beautiful way of creating space. Traditionally, in Renaissance painting, space was created with perspective, right? Like railroad tracks going way back, a path going back in the distance. Modern artists create space with color and shape and form itself. So some of the colors are going to pop forward, some of them are going to recede. And you might at times look at it in different ways. Is it coming out at you, or are we being invited into the painting? Is there even a transition of time going on? Or even an emotional transition? Anybody else?
Joyce, I see the rhythms of spring in a sense, the rhythms of nature, and when I, as a viewer, suspend looking at and just open myself to seeing, I'll see this kind of fluttering and motion and depth and activity that Pollock catches as one of the aspects of life to me that he catches so beautifully.
Well, that's a good point, Ellen. Pollock has a famous quote when someone asked him, "Do you paint nature?" And basically what they meant was, do you paint landscapes? Do you paint, you know, what you see, a tree? Do you paint nature? And Pollock replied, "I am nature." But this is the nature that's coming directly from him: breath, life, movement, heat, fire, passion, whatever it is. It's coming directly flowing from Pollock's body. Completely.
Can I interject something?
Yes, of course, please do.
Hi. Yeah, so from the beginning, watching him in action and energy, when I'm watching him lay the black down as the base and his movement, it really is him following the energy and the intention of where he needs to be. So sometimes energy will, when you know the attention to where the energy is, which he has great attention to his own flow, that is what I see from him. And so as you see, I mean, you don't see how he's actually, you know, putting each layer on, but obviously, or not obviously, the lightness is, as we could always say, that there's darkness is the absence of light. So I just see that he continues that energy field within this painting to keep building this light that will emanate from that base of the darkness underneath. So the play of light coming through, kind of overriding the underneath of any darkness, I would say.
You have a positive spin on this painting. It's
Absolutely, yeah.
A transformative image. And
Yes.
naturally, everyone is going to see it differently. I recognize the voice. That was my friend Robin, who is an energy studying or interested in energy healing. So you're also seeing it through your lens, but clearly Pollock himself did say it was energy made visible. So,
Yes. And
yeah.
It's awesome. Yep, thanks.
It is, it's beautiful. We're not going to focus on Lee Krasner today, but here's a picture of Lee Krasner, who was very instrumental in Pollock's career. She arranged for Peggy Guggenheim to give them, you know, loan them the money for the down payment, to provide Pollock with a stipend. She was what you could call the business manager behind Pollock's career. And of course, in the 40s and 50s, these women abstract expressionists were overlooked due to discrimination. This is Krasner's painting, also an amazing artist. One of her unique techniques is ripping up old canvases, gluing them back together, painting back into them, at times dripping. Also incredibly expressive and a very physical act of painting, using her whole body and all of her energy. So, in thinking about Pollock and Krasner and repeating these tours, it's been really eye-opening for me in my own life and living in the time we're living in. And I see a lot of connections between what we're going through now and what these abstract expressionists went through in the 40s and 50s. This generation was post-World War I and post-World War II. And of course, this was a devastating time in global history with enormous loss of life, violence. It's a complete disruption in the way people think and what they thought was safe and real. And artists, of course, respond to that. And many of the artists who were exiled from Germany came to New York, great creative thinkers like Marcel Duchamp. And these artists were interested in challenging what art is, what defines art, and what is a language of art. So you can imagine the milieu of artists here in the Hamptons and in New York and the incredible exchange of ideas. And one of the things that inspired us to put this program together is I said, well, you know what, this is an opportunity. As difficult as this is, let's exchange ideas, because this might be a cultural revolution. That's my theory. I really do feel this is a remarkable opportunity for people to exchange ideas. Naturally, it was happening before, but I think it's been accelerated. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to put my shoes on now so I could show you the incredible outdoor property. It's a beautiful day, so that's good. While I'm doing this, does anybody have any questions?
I posted in the chat, did he ever use music while he painted?
Good question. No, he didn't listen to music, but he was inspired by music. So he listened to jazz, and that inspired him. There is actually a CD out of Pollock jazz that he listened to, but he did not listen to music while he was painting. Good question.
Joyce,
While he had the studio in the barn, where did Lee Krasner paint?
Yes, I'm going to take you up there right now. I'm going to try to be brief to allow time for sharing. Lee Krasner painted in a room upstairs in the house. The first year he painted there, then she took it over. And then after she came into the barn, as I said, and used that for her own. Any other questions?
yes, Joyce, the famous movie with a glass surface, and I think it was Hans Nemeth
Yes.
photographing from underneath, watching Pollock. Was
Yes.
that done much later?
No, that was done around the same time. And I encourage people, that is online. You can Google Hans Nemeth Pollock movie. I didn't show that one because it's shown with Pollock painting outside, and that's not how he usually painted. So, but yes, it's a great movie to see. Here you see the incredible property, Accabonac Harbor. This was an old farmhouse with no bathroom, no central heat. They renovated it. Obviously they put bathrooms into it, but for the first year they lived here with no bathroom. They used an outhouse. It was tough country living. And there were 200 people in the town. They were farmers, they were fishermen. So this was rural life, and the house is humble. So we're not going to go in depth about each object, because you can come back another time. I'll send you the info where I go more detailed into the house. So this will give you an overview. This is all restored to when Lee Krasner lived here. There's not, she didn't collect artwork from famous artists. This is a sculpture by her nephew, Ronald Stein. This anchor they found on the beach, that's ready-made art. This is our temporary exhibit of Athos Zacharias. He died at age 91 last year. Great example of abstract expressionism, action painting. This room would have been used as an art gallery more than a comfy living room. I mean, not to sell paintings, but to show paintings. This was their parlor. And as you can see, this is simple living. I like coming to Pollock's house because it shows me a bygone era when this area on Eastern Long Island, known as the Hamptons, was much more relaxed, much more about being simply connected to nature and the beach and friends and being creative. Now, of course, it's extremely expensive, and it's a lot more consumerism happening here. And here's the guest room. This is the bedroom where, which of course later became Lee Krasner's bedroom. And when they lived here, they had 2 twin beds. But I really admire Lee Krasner's simplicity. And I feel this is Pollock and Krasner remind me of simple living and also what is essential. A barn, simple tools, and your own creative energy, your urge to create, right? What is essential? And lastly, I'd like to take you into the studio where Lee Krasner painted and show you the magnificent view. So, I am nature, and not copying nature, but letting nature flow from within. So these two artists remind me that there really is an infinite possibility within the artistic language, and the gift that they gave to their own generation, but also future generations, as I said, to open up doors of creativity. So this is a very good transition to see the work of Fabiana Yvonne Lugli, SignofSound, and I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Fabiana will introduce herself. She has a really unique way of creating art. It's all about collaboration. And so Fabiana, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Hello.
So Fabiana, tell us about the way you work your collaborative project. Just briefly, and then I'll start the video, okay?
Sure. So SignofSound is based on improvisation and interaction between music, dance, and the whole body. So for the way I approach the image, it's very, I feel very close to Jason Pollock. And it's nice what you said, that he not only did his work for himself, but he opened up for everyone that came after him. Because for me, he was one of the examples that I had to continue and explore more personally. And it's also beautiful that we share this East Hampton, because I just moved here, and for me it's really important as well to be in this environment where I can reconnect. It's marvelous. But going back into the previous topic, how do we do? So I was born as a dancer. So my first approach to the creation of the image is through the body. So it's totally an action painting approach. And what I did is I started collaborating with musicians, and the musicians were giving me the input to develop and fuse the creation of the image, going with the sound stimulation.
Fabiana, can I show it, and then they'll have an idea of this collaboration? At a certain point, I'll mute it, and then you can also explain more of the process, okay?
Please.
Is that good? Good, because this is so beautiful. I think everybody, I hope that you enjoy this as much as I do. So I'm going to share the screen. Fabiana, can you tell us about the unique way that the musician, dancer, and artist, how you all relate to each other on the project?
Sure. So what happens here is there is the effort that we all made is to become just one entity. So the dance is not the only the prima donna. The music is not the prima donna. Every dancer, musicians, performers are all fused in the creation of a unique piece of art. So what happens is that we develop a language. It's a methodology that I actually developed with the Academy of Dance, National Academy of Dance in Rome. I've been teaching this methodology there for 3 years, and then Academy of Fine Arts in Rome as well. I've been working with them for 10 years with Paolo Ferruzzi, the professor. And we developed, thanks, like to this effort, a way to interact between dance, music, and the dancers become musicians, and you generate with the move of your body, the intensity of your dynamics, you can generate a sound. So a dancer becomes actually a musician, and the musician develops the capacity of interpret the body movement and make a sound. So sometimes what happens when you really develop this methodology, that the dancers actually are creating sounds and vice versa. The musicians are creating images, and that's pretty much what it is. How it works, if we talk about the method, then we can go inside another aspect that I'm really close to, which is the psychological approach to the image that we generate. So we're talking about emotions. So the color, the sounds can lead us into some emotional dimensions, and we not only interpret them, but we recreate a true emotional stage. Yes.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the healing process with this project?
Okay, so right. So what happens is that we all, this is during the class, the course, of course, there is a way to get there. We all have something that we have lived or experienced in our lives. And there is not, we forgot how to reconnect to certain emotions. And through this methodology, I lead the person who participates, the participants, that they don't have to be professional dancers, professional musicians, or professional painters, but we can through the classes, the method that I use, I can help you get in contact with these emotions and live them again and transform them, because everything in our life, it could be transformed. And so if we are caught in a special emotional stage with some input and some hope and certainty of possibility of transformations, we can heal that. So this is what is.
Fabiana, that's so beautiful. And I understand that one of your musicians is actually on the line, is that right?
Yes, I used to work with many musicians. As you said, Pollock was working with jazz, and I used to work a lot. At the very beginning, it was with the jazz musicians. And then in Rome, I started working for many years with Entropia, which are this beautiful duo from Rome, and they are electronic musicians, and they're online. And one is Alex Marenga and Dr. Lopes, and they're here.
Oh, yeah. That's so good. So Alex, we're taking you off mute, okay?
I think it's Dr. Lopes is gonna talk.
Okay, yeah, so please take yourself off of mute. and we will spotlight you. So we really want to hear from you, from your perspective. What was it like to be part of this project? So start speaking, and then your face will come up spotlighted, I believe.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity, for this opportunity we had today to speak around our interaction, our special form of music development with Fabiana. We worked with Fabiana since 8 years ago, more or less. We had performed a lot of performance in Rome and in other places of Italy, and playing in this kind of particular music development is very, very interesting, because from our point of view, from the musician point of view, playing during a SignofSound performance is as read a virtual score that the Fabiana creates by painting, and there we stimulate each other on the performance development. So each performance is a very special moment. Is an improvisative kind of performance, but we study a lot to fix the concept, to fix the border of the performance, and we try to create with Fabiana during the performance this kind of interaction.
And I understand, were you going to come to East Hampton to perform this spring?
Yes, unfortunately, yes, but the COVID crisis, you know, we are living in Rome, in Italy, and started here the crisis in Europe. So the flight were canceled at that time, and we missed this fantastic opportunity to have a performance in absence with Fabiana.
Well, I'm optimistic, so let's say it's postponed, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
But now we're all going to be looking forward to meeting you. And
yeah, we are confident.
We are confident. It is postponed. So,
okay.
And what are you working on now? Has any creativity emerged for you during this COVID crisis, staying at home?
Yes, we are spending a lot of time in home because we are working in virtual way. So we have time to spend our time in our home, more time to dedicate to the music. And you know, during this crisis, the nights are so long and the days too. So music helped us during this period a lot.
True.
A lot.
Thank
and compose a lot. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the line and sharing your perspective. That's so special to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And it's a great reminder of the power of music and art, and music in and of itself. I do have my piano that has dust on it, so maybe I'll start playing. So Fabiana, do you have another musician here?
Oh, of course. This is a beautiful piano player, composer, singer. She's so talented, and she's from Rome. And the reason why I wanted to invite her, it's because she has had an idea about how to actually help support people during these difficult times as an artist. And she had a beautiful idea of putting her art out there for whoever needed to express feelings, emotions in these difficulties. And she was putting that emotions into music. Not everyone, we're lucky because we do that in our lives. We paint, we dance, but a lot of people need that to express themselves. And so this is what she did. But here, I like her to tell us and share the story And her name is Silvia Manco. She's a musician from Italy. And Silvia,
Silver,
please.
thank you. Can you unmute yourself, Silver?
Hello, can you hear me?
We sure can. We're going to find you and we will spotlight you. Can you speak, because then your image...
Of course, yes, of course. I'm here, I'm in Rome, and I hope you can also see me anyway. I continue to talk. And yes, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. It was extremely interesting, everything you said, Fabiana, and the Pollock Museum is a place I really want to visit the next time, because it's really shocking, the amount of energy that comes from there, even from us, just from the screen of my telephone. So I really want to do that experience in person. And actually, yes, Fabiana, me and Fabiana, we know each other since a long time, but that was the opportunity to reconnect, actually, because she read a post that I posted on Facebook, where I was starting to do this kind of experiment. Mostly an experience, because I wanted to use my tools, my skills, the fact that I can somehow play and sing, given people that wanted to convey a kind of message to someone they love or someone they miss, through a song they wanted to dedicate it to this person, or to I don't know. So I just put this message, this post on Facebook, telling people, if you wanted to send a message or dedicate a song to someone, please let me know, because probably I can do that for you if I'm able to do it, and it will be my pleasure to do it, because you know, here we have been 2 months at home, actually also doing video by ourselves, playing and sing, but I wanted to give the opportunity to people that cannot play and sing, but maybe have a favorite song, or a song related to this specific period, or a specific situation of their life, to convey this song, to bring a message to someone they love or someone they miss. That's just the idea I started with.
So Silva, you've managed to use Zoom to really connect people through music and really offer your gifts as a vehicle for love and compassion. So will you be willing to play for us a little now?
Yes, actually, I have to leave my headphones for a while, for just for a minute, so I cannot hear you, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I will play a short homemade version of a song that I really love. That is a song that also Nina Simone used to sing, and is about freedom. And it is called "I Wish I Knew How It Feels to Be Free."
Beautiful. Thank you.
I wish I knew how it feels to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could be like a bird up in the sky, singing loud, saying clear for the whole round the world to hear. I wish I could be like a bird up in the sky, move all the bars that you
now, take it clear, sing loud, sing clear, sing loud, sing it clear for the whole round the world to hear.
Silva, that gave me the chills in a good way. That was so beautiful. Silva, thank you so much. That was so beautiful, and
Thank you.
the lyrics are so perfect for this time we're living in.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because freedom, I mean, is a state of mind.
yes, and what does freedom mean to each person? It might have a different definition, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you. So Kathryn, will you?